Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films Theatre with your hosts, Ethan R. Hill, Matthew Ayalew, and Jesse Prosser. Yeah, just like that, right?
Oh, classic.
That was my line.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Whoa, you're fired. Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films. I am your host, Ethan R. Hill, and with me, as always, is...
Jesse Prosser?
And...
That's a question. I like how you Jesse Prosser.
Jesse Prosser?
You know why he's confused, right? Because his name's Jesse R. Prosser. He forgot that part.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
It caught... created a lot of confusion for him.
So are you still Matthew R. Ayalew, or have you dropped the R?
No, the R is still there.
It's still there.
Matthew Raylew.
Yeah.
Matthew Raylew.
Matthew R. Ayalew?
Raylew Clune.
And I'm
That's me.
Ethan R. Hill? Who are you people?
We should talk like this the whole time? For
And we're
every
gonna
point that we
talk-
make, we're just like...
And
love
I think it was
movies.
a really good movie.
I don't
And
know.
it's just... and I
This
think
is
those
my
actors were
favorite
really
movie
good.
ever.
This is another episode of our podcast.
And every time
Are
I
you
always get a
guys-
little bit higher.
We got some really
I
interesting
shouldn't do that. I'm gonna wake up
topics.
the baby, and then I'm gonna be in trouble.
You're gonna wake up the baby?
Question
don't-
mark? I don't
No,
know.
it's Matt. It's Don't Wake Daddy. Everybody knows that's the game. Actually, I think there is one called Don't Wake Baby.
Trust
I
me,
think it
Don't
might-
Wake Baby.
What
is
kind of game
probably
is-
way more?
What
It's a
kind of game
dangerous
is
game.
Don't Wake Daddy, and why are you playing it?
Don't Wake Daddy. You don't remember this?
No.
Oh. Don't Wake Daddy.
Uh-huh.
It's literally like
Prosser,
You're
who are you
trying-
calling Daddy?
they're trying to get around the
And why
board.
are you not waking them?
You're just being a jackass because
Well,
you don't.
what's new there?
Yeah, exactly right.
I just want to know about this game that you're playing.
It's a real game. It's
I'm not
called-
saying it isn't.
It's
I
a-
just want to know about it.
It's a board game in which you are trying to sneak around
It's
the
a
house,
board game.
and you have to press the button on the dad's bed. And there's a chance
You have to
when you
press your
the
dad's
button,
button. Jesus.
yes,
Christ.
he'll stand right up,
You know,
Oh
Prosser,
my God.
and his hat will fly off.
I really need to meet this daddy of yours that you seem to be fond of.
I don't want to. Not
'Cause
if he's
I
gonna be
always-
standing right up. It's
I'm always
concerning.
sneaking around.
I've met your father, and
All
I
these-
feel like your father is not your daddy. Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
And what does he do? But I was just trying to explain this friendly childhood board game, and then it became creepy.
Like, try explaining any childhood board game in a non-creepy way.
Like Mousetrap. It's a game for sadists.
Listen,
Literally.
I had to catch mice a whole bunch this last fall. Like, I don't
Oh,
know how they
boy.
got in, but like one rolled up in, and then it must have got all its homies and was like, "Yo, let's go!" And I was just like,
They got
"Man, I had like
food.
I had to like set up some pretty like crazy traps because some of them were pretty smart, some of them were pretty
Okay.
dumb. You're just like, well, that it's like
So then all
This
that
one-
Mousetrap.
this one trap I left. Like, I got a mouse and I was like, I was cleaning up the one trap and I like took it away and I had them like set up in a very specific way. So it's like if you tried to go for the cheese or the peanut butter or whatever, you would hit one of them. And then I just left the one out there just in the open by itself. And then the next day I come back and there's another one in there. I'm like, God, aren't you some kind of stupid? Like, it wasn't against the wall. It was just like out in the middle of the open. And it was just like, I was like, God, I didn't even have to try for that one. So some of them were pretty smart. Some were pretty dumb. But I got them all either way. So
Well, that's good.
Or they learn not to come back.
yeah. Hey, you always have to leave one alive. you tell your friends.
Tell your
You
friends.
tell them. This is
Warn
not the house.
everyone.
Or you get like
Tell
a,
them about me.
where you got to pull
One.
like what was that show that was on Modern Family? There's that one episode where they're talking about the wife there of Al Bundy. I can't remember her name right now. I haven't watched
Sofia
that.
Vergara.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I haven't watched that
Or
show for
Gloria
hell-
is the name of the show.
Gloria,
I'm sure.
yeah, wow. I
I've
haven't
never seen
watched
the
that
show.
for such a long. I used to love it. I watched it all the time. I haven't watched it for a while.
It's
Clearly,
supposed to be a good
It's
show.
been on my watch list forever.
But
I've never sat down.
there was one episode when like apparently she's like catching a rat, and then she used like like a gardening tool to like chop off its head, but you don't see it, right? She's just
God.
like, yeah. And then she's like, and then you leave it out for a warning for all the other rats. And I'm like, shit, maybe I should do that. Just get a toothpick and like put one of the heads on there and be like, don't
Yeah,
you
you
come
just
back.
it's like
Just leave them in front of the house.
it's like the opening of Castlevania. There's just
Yeah,
rows of staked
skewered
mice.
heads.
That's fine and dandy until that rat's child comes back for revenge 20 years later, Matt.
Trained by Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a ninja rat. Huh. Huh.
A
You're
no-
gonna adopt some turtles, aren't you?
No.
His name is Cutter, and
Not Shredder. It's definitely Cutter.
is Cutter or no Splinter. What is it? Be
Well, Splinter is it'd
be your
the Ninja
Rubble?
Turtles.
No, instead of Splinter, it's what's the other name for a splinter when you get it?
Sliver.
Yeah, we'll call him
Ah,
Sliver.
Sliver. And he has to fight the
The slap shop.
the slap chop. He has to fight the slap chop with his team of samurai frogs.
No, it's his team of ninja Renaissance painters
Oh.
named after turtles.
Named after turtles. Snapper. There's Snap. There's Galapagos. There's
There's Leatherback
Leatherback.
and there's C.
See, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that would go
A
wrong.
completely original show.
I just want to see 4 Renaissance painters fight ninjas.
Middle-aged, completely normal ninja artists.
I feel like they wouldn't be completely normal ninja artists. That seems.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Completely normal Renaissance artists.
There was nothing normal about Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, or Raphael.
Don't know.
They were gifted ninjas.
It's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Very talented.
But anyways, we're not here to pitch our alternates to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I
Oh,
would say that.
pitch. I think you said we're not here to pinch, and I was like, "What are you pinching, guy?" 'Cause,
We're not here to pinch
Prosser, we're here to pinch Prosser.
to pinch the Ninja Turtles.
slightly concerned about what was going on there for a sec, but it's all good.
I don't know. Prosser's pinching his daddy.
Don't wake daddy. It had a theme song. This is a real thing. I didn't make it
Man,
up.
this role play is really in depth for you, isn't it? There's a theme song. And
I was like, "Oh my god."
you guys are like, you're like, I swear to God, it's a real thing.
It's real.
I'm sure it's real for you and your partner.
You just have to press. You just gotta press that button until it goes up.
Oh,
And
Until
boy.
Daddy
then
wakes
then
up.
you find out who won.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Everybody, I feel like everybody lost in that.
Everybody
case,
wins
but
when
yeah,
Daddy wakes up.
That's because we're not playing.
Everybody lost.
It's Matt, your daddy. Is that what this is?
I don't
This
think
is
so.
definitely
It'd
not
be very
the case.
difficult considering how far away he is.
Long distance daddies.
That'd be weird. Why you gotta make it weird?
So close distance daddies are fine for you, but long distance is what makes it weird.
It's not my thing personally, but
I like the idea that the distance is what kills that for you. It's like, yeah, I'll have a daddy, but only if he's nearby.
Listen, I'm a very attractive man. What can I, say?
I will not inconvenience myself for this.
I will not inconvenience anybody for my kinks.
I like the idea of it. But,
This
boy.
is a feast of something, let me tell you.
Well, we miss our sex pervert viewers.
This will get them back.
Yeah, we gotta.
They'll start showing up. Finally, an episode. This is what I signed up for.
Finally, I've been coming back.
Just a bunch of comments being like, "I'll be your daddy" to Prosser with a winky face.
Oh no! You know, it's weird. Somebody's gonna
and
do
then
that.
because
now.
One person
And
one
then
person
because it
offers to be
gets
his
like
mommy.
views and listens, then we have to really just lean into it, right? Because we can't like abandon our viewers, so we just
No,
have to
of
really
course.
lean into it, and
So I'll have to change our
It'd be
name to
a-
an orgy of film.
An orange.
it'd be a very uncomfortable situation for Jesse, like every day.
I don't know if the algorithm's gonna like that.
I mean, we can just do ASMR. I mean, like that's the thing you like to do, right?
Oh, you know it. I'm always nearby the microphone making random noises.
Was it Darth Vader ASMR we were talking about?
It was Darth Vader ASMR.
I
Jesus.
feel like we were talking about something with ASMR.
Um,
I feel like it was on the podcast like a few weeks ago. I can't remember. A few
What's
weeks ago
ASMR
feels like a
again?
lifetime.
the best.
ASMR is like the audio sensory something or
Yeah,
mumble rap. No,
mumblecore. Like it's
basically-
kind of mumblecore.
it's basically when someone goes up close to a mic and just makes a bunch of like weird like whispers.
They'll
and
like
smacking
they'll like
and-
rustle paper.
Oh, okay.
They'll
Matt, do you know what ASMR is?
No,
it's a whole thing.
that's why he
People
literally
are-
just asked.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
I thought Matt was part of that conversation.
I don't know.
I could have sworn, but no. On a side note, the best slasher villain for ASMR would definitely be Ghostface.
Maybe that's what we were talking about.
Maybe when we talk about Scream, I don't know.
Why would it be Ghostface?
He's always talking. He's got a lot of experience talking
I
with.
was expecting
on
a
the phone.
punchline, and then you're like, "Here's my serious answer."
No, listen. I'm breaking it down. All right, you're not gonna get jack shit from Michael or Jason. Freddy, he's too loud. Ghostface, he's
No, but Michael
all
and
about
Jason-
that intimate conversation.
No, that's not what ASMR is. It's not about intimate conversation. He'd be good for phone sex, but for ASMR, you'd want Michael or Jason because again, it's quiet.
The heavy breathing.
Yeah, heavy breathing and the rustling of people's bodies as they're being killed, and
Makes perfect sense.
Exactly. Give me a
this is
reason.
Maybe
interesting.
Leatherface dangling them chains in front of the
Who has change?
or not Leatherface.
Pinhead?
Pinhead. Yes, Pinhead
Oh,
with
boy.
them chains. Dangling them.
Are you okay?
I go.
Professor, why don't you talk about the topic that we're going to talk about? We'll get you better. We'll get you some help, and I'll contact your daddy.
It's late. So, what's good?
Yeah.
Good in the hood.
No, exactly. Well, I believe before we got horribly off track, as we often do.
Look, man, we were just being supportive of you and your lifestyle choices.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, you know what? I appreciate that, but I think the viewers would like to hear us talk about
Your daddy some more.
the. God damn it!
You're welcome.
Would love to hear us talk about random movies and just stuff that people don't talk about too often. Just hidden,
mean
hidden
hidden
gems.
gems?
Yes, hidden.
Yeah.
I was building up to it.
Matt, you want to talk about random movies?
Yes.
I think the viewers would love
Do you
to
mean
hear us.
movies that are random or movies that, like, just randomly pop up that we don't really talk about?
Yeah, I would
Because
say
movies that are random are a little...
movies that are also random. But no, I was thinking it would be good to talk about movies that like not a lot of people talk about, but we're huge fans of. You know, give some recommendations and
Matt's top pick, Meet the Spartans. All right, go, Matt.
Oh my god, I hate that movie.
obviously,
If there was ever a movie I hated, it's that movie. It's like
it's not a good movie.
just why would you do that to yourselves? Why would someone pay to get that made? That's what I don't understand.
It was parodies were hot. That was the big thing. Oh man, wouldn't it
Yeah,
be
but
funny
there's good parodies and then there's that, which is
Wouldn't it be
like,
funny if Xerxes was Iron Man?
Wait, that happened?
I think so. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that happened in that movie. I think he got an Iron Man suit to fight the Spartans.
Honestly, I can't remember what happens through all of it because it was so terrible.
Yes, it was an awful
I
movie.
don't know if that's a thing that happened because when that movie came out, I feel like before the MCU was big by any sort of means. Like it was a long ways back.
Oh yeah, because there was a superhero movie.
Yeah, and then there's epic movie, disaster movie. I know Disaster Movie definitely had Iron Man show up in it.
Yes.
Then he got crushed by an asteroid or something.
A cow.
Nice.
Yeah. No, that movie's terrible.
Okay, so then.
Well, let's talk about.
What do you mean? Give an example. What do you mean a hidden gem? What are you thinking when you think hidden gem? What's off the top of your skull?
Well, when I think about movies that just like nobody really talks about.
Yeah, like a movie. Name a movie.
What
movie are you?
I'm building up to it.
Man, it's a lot of build up with this guy.
Can I interrupt your build up for a sec?
You go right ahead.
You press the pause
leave him
button.
hanging for your.
Press
for
the
your
pause
daddy.
button. I just want to take back something I said last week and then correct it. I said I liked Force Awakens better than A New Hope, and I ranked it higher. That's a lie. Reverse that. A New Hope is better. It's just better. I like it better. I was just listening to some of the music, and I was like, yeah, I totally made the wrong call on that one. Just listening to the music, I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I like A New Hope better. So
Nope.
Yeah,
Force
but
Awakens number 4 for me now. I just want to. I just want to do a recall on that. A correction.
It's hard to beat the original. I could dig that. It's a solid choice.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
I think the music is stronger in Force Awakens.
I do love how I do.
Oh man, don't even get me started on soundtracks because I did listen to episode 9 soundtrack and I was like, this isn't anything special at all. There's nothing that really stood out.
Really great.
There is
tracks.
literally a title song called The Last Duel and there's barely anything in it. And I was like, see, there was no music in that duel. Like, so just like, I already said that. And then we're talking about The Last Jedi, and you're like, oh, that's not a good soundtrack. You know what? Just because a song is from a different movie or parts of it are brought in from a different movie, it doesn't make it a bad soundtrack, Ethan. It's a damn good soundtrack, and there's a lot of great moments in it. That's the other thing I wanted to say. That's it.
It's all right.
I'm good.
I enjoy how the conversation about hidden gems and like random movies you wouldn't really know about got interrupted by, well, you don't think about Star Wars.
I just had to put out some recalls about
No, and
last
I
week.
dig that.
And I was
you
like,
you gotta set the record straight. I dig
yeah,
it.
you
It's
know,
all
just
good.
be like, yo, homies, like, I gotta get that. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
No, fair enough.
Thank you for taking this moment, everybody.
All good. But yeah, like one of the movies that I think personally it's one that doesn't really get talked about a lot, but I think is really good, is a movie called You're Next, which is
It's okay.
just okay.
It's all right. It's not The Guest.
I mean, The Guest is.
See, I'd say The Guest is more of a hidden gem.
I think more people know about The Guest now than You're Next, especially with how popular Dan Stevens is.
But that's I would disagree because Matt's confused by even what we're talking about right now.
Sorry, it's just.
Well, that's why it's a hidden gem, Ethan.
But that's what, like you're next. The reason why I disagree with your assessment on this.
I mean, it wasn't your pick, but okay, you can disagree with me.
Your next is at the end of the
I
day.
love how Prosser's been trying to just get to his one point for the last 20
you're like,
minutes, and then
bullshit.
he finally makes it, and Ethan's like, "I call bullshit," and I'm gonna tell you why. It's just like I didn't even get to.
This is not your
make
hidden
my
gem,
point
Mickey.
yet. Poor Buck. Oh, you poor guy.
Look,
What's your damn argument?
what film is more memorable, The Guest or Your Next?
They're both really great. Like The Guest is a better movie, I will say. But
What makes Your Next better?
I'm not
Not
saying
better, but what makes Your Next spectacular?
it's got a fantastic premise. The cast is really good. It does, like, people like to talk about subverting expectations, but that movie subverts your expectations on what is going to happen based on how many, like, slashers or home invasion movies you've seen. Like, there's a whole, like, basically you don't know exactly why the killers are doing what they're doing, but it slowly reveals what is happening in the plot. And by the time you get to the actual reason, you're just like, oh, that's some petty bullshit going on there.
See, and when I watched it, I didn't felt that way. I just kind of felt like, okay, it's another slasher.
It's really not, though. Like, there's so many things that make it different.
For me, it didn't surprise me or shock me.
And that's fine.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I think The Guest is because it's the same filmmaker. That's I guess why we were making the comparison. It's the same filmmaker.
But they're also very different movies.
They're very different movies, but I think like if you were to pick a hidden gem out of that guy's filmography, I would say like no, The Guest. The Guest is the one that like.
I also feel like I've talked about The Guest before on
Can
this.
it not be both, or
No, because I think Your Next is a mediocre film, and my word is law.
Your Next is a great movie, audience. You all should go and see it. But also watch The Guest, because that movie's fantastic and it's one of my favorites. But I was trying to pick some obscure stuff, and then Ethan's saying that's bullshit.
Well, I guess my other thing too is I see Your Next, working in a movie store for as long as I did. Your Next was always on the shelf. It was always selling. Like people were constantly buying it. We were constantly getting it restocked. I haven't seen a copy of The Guest in that store. Period.
I guess that's fair. Maybe maybe me just seeing Dan Stevens more in the mainstream now, I just assume that The Guest has a bit more of a following than it did, because it's got a pretty significant cult following at this point. Like
But the thing is, Your Next, and this is also like this is just a thought. This is a speculation. Your Next falls into just horror movie, and so you're gonna have horror fans who immediately just check it out based on the cover, based on like the premise, all that kind of stuff. The Guest is weird because like, would you say it's a horror movie or like to a point?
I'd say to a degree, yes, it is. Like, it doesn't start off as a horror film. Like, they both do the genre bending to a degree.
But at the same time, like
The Guest takes it to like the nth degree where like
The Guest has like 7 different genres stuffed into it.
Yeah.
And it works because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, but it doesn't draw a specific audience. Whereas like,
well, specifically, like
Your
it
Next-
does market itself a bit on the whole like 80s nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Like to a degree.
Whereas like Your Next is very much marketed as a horror film. Like it has that niche.
Yeah, of course.
Niche.
Yeah.
Nietzsche.
Either way.
It has that little thing, and that's where for me it's like, I don't know. I would consider The Guest more of a hidden gem than Your Next, but also like.
Is that your choice for a hidden gem as The Guest?
No, I'm just talking about your fic.
Okay, and that's perfectly fine. But no, like I think it like both are really great films. Like I'm not gonna disagree with you on saying The Guest, because The Guest also didn't do jack shit as far as business is concerned. And it definitely falls into more of that like cult status, I would say. Like The Guest or Your Next came out was pretty big and then just kind of fizzled out. Like nobody really talks about
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like The Guest, a lot more people are discovering now, whereas like Your Next was big when it came out and then kind of just fizzled out with the crowd. And I guess that's kind of more what I'm talking about, because there are movies that like they gain a following. Like they don't do jack shit and then they gain a following. Like I would not say John Carpenter's The Thing is a hidden gem. A lot of people know that movie, but when it came out, it didn't do jack shit.
But I think there are also movies that like fall into this hidden gem category that didn't do great and then still have a very small following. And it's one of those films where you're like, I don't get why it doesn't have a bigger following.
Right.
That would kind of be what my thought would be when we're talking about hidden gems, is like ones that like they don't have a big following and you're kind of like, well, why? It's so good.
No, that's fair. I can understand that.
And that's why I was disagreeing, because I was confused. I'm like, but The Guest is a better one. It doesn't necessarily have a big fan base. And that's to me, that's what a hidden gem is. So that's why I was disagreeing and was confusing. It's like,
it wasn't you just saying my choice was bullshit.
No, I think your choice is good, and I think your reasoning, like once explained, like your reasoning makes perfect sense.
Okay, no. All right, I could get behind that. But at first I was just like, Ethan, I just want to talk about Your Next. But The Guest is great too. Like, I can't disagree with that at all.
Well, then talk about Your Next.
Well, I feel like I already have.
You said the cast was good, the premise was good, and they subvert your expectations, and that was what you talked about.
Well, because it's one of those movies where like basically every time you think you know where the story's going to go, or you think you've got the characters figured out, it just completely 180s into a completely different direction. The kills are super creative within it. The main character is such a unique choice for a protagonist, because like I don't really want to give away too much, but like you think that her character is going to be a certain way, and then they completely pull the rug out from under you as far as like who she is and what she can do, and it's great. And same thing with the killers. Again, you've seen like the masked killers before in home invasion or slasher movies and things like that, and you think they're going to be a certain way, but then you discover that they're kind of just like they're kind of just regular ass people. Like, I'm not going to give away too much on that regard, but like they show you things and they play off of what you think is going to happen, and they completely turn around on you. And for that, I think it's a really good movie to watch, especially like if you've seen a lot of movies like that. But even if you haven't, I think it's just a fantastic watch. So I would recommend Your Next for like anybody who just wants a really solid, thrilling, fun movie to watch. So that'd be mine if I had to pick one. Yeah. How about yourselves?
What's yours, Ethan? What's your hidden gem?
Well, there's been a lot that I've kind of been discovering recently that is just like, well, I've been going back through a lot of older movies, and just kind of, I don't know, I've just been exploring older movies, and I found a bunch, and I'm trying to think of like, oh crap, there was one big one recently.
Like, I know there was a brief period of time for this where I was thinking about talking about Adventures of Buckaroo Bonsai. But that movie is like, I can't rightfully say that movie is like a great movie, but it is incredibly weird and fun to watch.
Yeah.
And it's one that not a lot of people, like, again, it falls into that cult status. So I think it does have, like, people know about Buckaroo Bonsai at this point, I would say. Just for
I think some people do.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's part of the mass populace. Like,
yeah.
Cult classics can still be hidden gems because it doesn't necessarily reflect how big your cult is, right?
Yeah.
There's one recently that me and Prosser watched, which is like a weird action thriller, dark comedy called Into the Night, and it's a John Landis film.
Oh, yeah.
With Michelle Pfeiffer and Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
And basically Jeff Goldblum's this really boring guy who doesn't have much going on in his life, who gets caught up in this whole, like, jewel smuggling ring, and basically has to survive the night with this random girl who is Michelle Pfeiffer, who gets caught up in this whole thing too, and basically they just go on this weird across-city journey trying to escape from, like, the police, the FBI, and the jewel thieves, and like the cartel. It's messed up and super weird, and it's just one that I picked up because I was like, I can't remember what I was doing. I was like searching up Michelle Pfeiffer films because I love that woman. She is just such a good actress.
Well, Michelle Pfeiffer is fantastic.
And like I was looking up movies, and I saw that one. I'm like, oh, she did some comedies. And she did that one, and she did another one that I haven't watched called Amazon Women on the Moon. And that one's like a comedy anthology by...
also John Landis?
John Landis, Joe Dante, and a couple other guys. And just like, I've been doing that more and more, where I've just kind of been finding random movies from actors that I love or filmmakers that I love that I haven't necessarily watched. Actually, no! It's not okay. So here's the thing: you wouldn't think that, like, I consider this a hidden gem, but you wouldn't think it because it's a Spielberg film. But Spielberg's second movie, The Sugarland Express, is so good. No one talks about it, but it is so good. The soundtrack is amazing. The story is really entertaining and engaging. It's got heart. And it's just so good.
You're right. I haven't heard of that one.
Right? So it's
I
like,
don't think so anyway.
Why don't people talk about that? You know, why don't people talk about that movie?
Well, that's weird because again, like, because
and I showed it to you, and you like.
It was good. Like, it was a really fun movie. Like, and again, like with how big Jeff Goldblum is these days.
I'm talking about Sugarland Express.
Oh, Sugarland! Goddamn. Sorry, I fell asleep.
Did you tune out during that transition?
I think I fell asleep for a second. Sugarland
about
Express.
right.
I mean, you can talk about both. I've shown you both.
Yeah. But no, Sugarland Express, that movie was like, because that had, I can't remember the actor's name, but he's in Ghostbusters and Die Hard, right?
Yes, he's the.
He plays Walter Peck. And
He's the guy who's like,
Bruce
you
Willis.
need. No, he's like, you need to turn off these machines in Ghostbusters.
shut these off, shut these all off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Bruce Willis.
It's not Bruce Willis was not in Ghostbusters.
But he was definitely in Die Hard. So
Well, obviously.
$10 is Bruce Willis.
Of course. Yeah, Sugarland Express, also quite a solid movie. And like, again, when it is super early in Spielberg's career, but you can still kind of see the Spielberg isms in that film. But again, it's one that like, I think more people talk about like Duel than they talk about Sugarland, but Sugarland is definitely the superior movie. And it's just like it's
Yeah,
this,
I don't know why people reference Duel more than they do Sugarland Express, and I think honestly a lot of it comes down to like he doesn't really reference Sugarland Express in any of his other movies.
yeah. Whereas like he's referenced Duel in a couple
few times.
Yeah, and that movie's got like the simplest friggin' premise, just like dude pisses off a trucker and then the trucker tries to kill him. Like, whereas Sugarland has a lot going on. Like, it's this, like, again, it's this cross-country journey with these criminals, and there's this constant threat of them, like, shooting somebody, but then you kind of forget that's a thing, and eventually you're just watching these, like, you're just watching these characters as they travel across the country, and then, like, progressively they remind you, you know, all right, these guys are criminals, and they keep putting people in danger.
Which movie did you say?
Sugarland Express.
Oh no, they're they're not criminals necessarily.
Well, the one guy's a criminal.
No, he's not. He's in prison for silly reasons. He's about to get paroled, and basically
Criminal.
his wife.
Don't talk to me, criminal.
His wife breaks him out early because she's gonna lose their son because she can't provide for him, or they're seeing her as like not fit because she's a single mom and it was back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So she breaks him out because like, no, we need to get our son. We need to get to Mexico, and so basically they break out, and they're going fine until they get pulled over, and then they take a police officer hostage because they're like, no, we need to get our son. And it actually becomes this big thing where, like, literally,
because
the entire country is cheering for them.
Yeah.
And, like, they aren't bad people. They aren't. They've just made some mistakes. And they're just kind of trying to do what's right for their son.
And the situation just escalates to, like, national levels.
News, but everyone loves them. Even the police. Like, for the most part, the police are on their side, too. Like, it's kind of crazy and kind of good. And the ending is a bit of a bittersweet ending.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
But, no, it's really good. No, they're not criminals.
I mean, they are once they, take a cop hostage. By definition, they're criminals at that point.
Well, to be technical about it.
I'm just saying.
If you want to be technical, you're like,
I can't believe I
is
phased out between Into the Night and Sugarland Express. Oh yeah, Jeff Goldblum's huge in that movie.
I'm disappointed in you.
I just sometimes.
Another one would be No Man of God.
Oh yeah.
No Man of God. It's a newer release. No one talks about it, but I mentioned on the podcast. It's the one with Elijah Wood, where he plays the FBI profiler who's interviewing Ted Bundy before his execution.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so good, but no one's talked about it. No one has mentioned it once, and it is one of the best modern movies I've seen in years.
Yeah. No, like, it's two dudes in a room talking for, like, 90% of the movie, but it's captivating and it's well shot and incredibly well written.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can be chilling at times, like, just with some of the stuff that they do. So, yeah, that one is also a good choice.
Oh, gosh, I have so many I can talk about. Like, Private Eyes.
Private Eyes. Did I watch Private Eyes with you?
I hope so. It's a comedy detective story with Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
Yeah, I haven't seen
and
that.
And they're like two incompetent detectives who have to try and solve a murder. And it's so good. And it's like, it's got kind of some Clue vibes because it's them going to like a mansion to try and figure out who murdered like the lord of the house.
Oh yeah.
The lord and his wife, and basically it's just them going on random shenanigans and almost dying, and it's really well executed, really funny, but no one talks about it.
Good old Don Knotts. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, because now... See, now I ended up talking a bit about the guest before, and now I kind of want to talk about the guest. Because now that's all that's on my brain now. I had other things in mind, but no, like, I guess I will talk about it. So the guest, which Ethan brought up before, same
I
director.
thought you brought
Adam
that
Wingard.
up. Which one did you bring up?
The You're Next is the one I was
okay.
talking about.
Oh, and then Ethan was like, "No, it's the guest."
Yeah, and like honestly, like yeah,
I forgot how that conversation already went.
yeah, because I need to talk about the guest now, I guess. So that movie, The Guest, is really cool because it starts off. Basically, there's this guy David who is played by Dan Stevens, and he arrives at this like family's house. He introduces himself and like says like, "Hey, I served with your son in the war, like before he died and all this stuff." Like basically like comes across as this like really charming guy, and like he kind of infiltrates the family unit and becomes best friends with everybody in the family, and he's kind of a different person to each of the people in the family. And as the story goes along, you start to realize that maybe David's not exactly who he says he is or even what he says he is. And it's really well executed. It's a fun movie. It's got a really good soundtrack, really good song selection in it. The movie lives and dies on Dan Stevens' performance. Like, he's brilliant in it. It's got a really nice, like, kind of like that 1980s, like, neon color palette going on in it as well. And like we were discussing before, the movie changes genres like 3 times. Like, it starts off as like a family drama, and then it becomes a bit of a action movie for a bit, and then sporadically throughout it turns into a horror movie. And it switches between those like seamlessly. It's really well executed.
What's it called again?
The Guest.
The Guest. Okay.
Le Guest.
Le Goose. But yeah, no, that movie is also
Le Gusta?
that movie is also fantastic. I recently bought a special edition from the UK because why not? 4K and all that jazz. But no, I would say that one's also really good. Like, nice double feature, You're Next and The Guest, I would say. Quite good.
Yay, if you say so.
And now you're back in Ellen. Well, now that I've talked about it,
No, I think The Guest makes a great standalone movie.
you just see this all comes down to Ethan not caring for You're Next, which is fine. You're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah.
You don't like my opinion that much, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm just gonna cry now. There's nothing you can do about it.
Mr. Ayalew, do you have
Don't
any
cry. It's okay.
do you have any hidden gems?
Yeah, I got a whole, just a huge list here.
Sweet.
Let me bring up my list that I got here for you guys. I'm going to
Sounds
start
good.
with Anchorman. That's a hugely unknown film. I don't think anyone's ever seen it or heard of it. Really good. Will Ferrell. Steve Carell before he was really known as Steve Carell. You have Paul Rudd in there. It's just an absolutely fantastic piece. Next one, The Dark Knight. Just real low budget film. Never really did that well in theaters. Didn't make a ton of money.
Yeah, it's a pretty obscure movie.
Yeah, not too many people know about it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Braveheart, another classic that people just have not seen. Mel Gibson, before he went crazy and started saying all these crazy
I've
things.
never heard of Mel Gibson. He must be a really obscure actor.
He is. You know what? Just like really under the radar till he said some stuff about Jewish people. Then he was above the radar. Now he's kind of back under again. I think that's all quieted down. But I mean, really good director and performer. Just people
I hadn't heard about this guy.
people don't really know about him. Yeah, and I mean, like this was a great movie. Like just about the fighting for freedom for the Scottish people. A lot of kilts. It was it's really
Can't
great.
go wrong with kilts.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, kilts can go pretty wrong.
Yeah, Ethan makes a pretty good point there.
If it gets drafty,
A little breezy.
You got John Wick, this little indie story about a guy and his dog.
Johann Wick, yeah.
Yeah. Really just great film, just really quiet. I mean, nothing overly exciting, but just this awesome like lifetime friendship between a guy and his dog, and then the dog. In spoiler, like the dog dies, and he's got to find purpose again in his life. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful story. Geez, I mean, what else? Like the list could keep going on.
This goes on and on.
It just could keep going. Like there's just so many. John Wick 2. This one was great. Like
so
he
obscure.
found, he found some like
sequel.
he found and then he kind of like resettled again, got a new dog, and then I think that dog actually lives, but it's about his journey really of moving on beyond that. I thought that was just a really great piece there too. Let's see, 300. This story about 300 Spartans fighting against the Persian Empire.
I mean, like, all joking aside, I don't think anybody talks about 300 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard it come up, but like, I mean, there's Godzilla on the list here. Rush Hour 2, no one's ever heard of that. The Patriot, just some really, really great hidden gems that I think everyone should check out. And
no, fair enough, man.
Really great. And then Spider-Man, Django Unchained is a great one too. Spider-Man's super rare. People, I ask people, like, who Spider-Man is? You see that new Spider-Man movie? They're like, I have no idea what Spider-Man is. And I'm like, wow, that's
pretty obscure.
That's crazy, because I feel like people should know him, because he's been around for a long time, but apparently people don't know him.
Can't imagine he's too popular.
Yeah, and then The Founder, that was a solid movie. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, The Founder? Yeah. Actually, yeah, that one, like, I personally have not seen it myself. But
and you know what
anyone's talking about?
That one leads me, that pretty much actually is like my real, it's not really a hidden gem as far as like, you guys talk about like all these like classic older ones that people haven't seen or whatever, but like to me, Founder is actually like, and I'm being serious here I am being serious. I'm done shitting around. Like I got a case of the F rounds today. Okay. I just had to like get that out of my system. But The Founder was a movie that, it came out and I didn't hear like tons of buzz around it. I didn't hear tons of people.
There's a little bit of Oscar buzz, I think.
Yeah.
That's about
but like
it. Yeah.
it was about it. Like it did not have the, legs, and it's not something I hear people talk about too much, but I mean, it's on Netflix. It's about like the Ray Kroc, like the founder in quotation marks of McDonald's. And it's a super interesting, dramatic, just fascinating story, and it's played by obviously the great Michael Keaton, and it's on Netflix. Like you can go watch it right now if you got Netflix. It's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Like there's moments you're so hyped for Michael Keaton's character. You're like, yeah, man, like good for you chasing your dreams and stuff like that, and like finally making progress in life, because he's kind of like this down and out guy who's tried so many things and everything has failed. And like just on a human level, I feel like I can relate to that too. And I feel like a lot of us can, as like in the younger years, you try so many things. Some things work, some things don't, right? And except this dude's like in his like 40s or 50s, and
right,
he's lived a whole life of trying to sell different things, and nothing's really taken off. And he has this reputation of being the guy who sells all these different things, and nothing really works out for him. So as a person who has sold multiple things, I feel like I could relate to that in that way. But yeah, like he gets on board with McDonald's, and then things it's going really well, and then things, you start seeing success have its costs, and his life changes, and his life still gets good, but like how it affects the people around him is a really interesting story there. So yeah, no, it's a great little film. fantastic. And if you got a chance to watch it, and like it's not just all about cheeseburgers, but it's the story behind it, and it's actually it's a really interesting human story at the core of it. So
Okay.
that would be my little hidden gem. Like I think it is. I just haven't heard too many. Like, and maybe everybody knows it, but if you don't, you're welcome, man. Like,
Well, just like, yeah, it is
great little
definitely more
piece.
on the recent side, but honestly, yeah, like
It
aside
is
from like
newer,
when
yeah.
it first kind of came out,
Dude, one of my hidden gems came out literally this year.
Oh.
Like Nomad of God was released 2021, so like
that's true. Like, but yeah, like literally aside from like when it first was coming out and seeing Michael Keaton in the trailer, I didn't really know jack shit about. Like, I know you've seen it,
yeah.
but yeah, I have yet to see it myself. It's been on my watch list, but yeah, like literally if Ethan hadn't talked about it, you hadn't talked about it, like I probably would have disappeared into the ether at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So no, that's
Yeah,
a
like,
solid recommendation, honestly.
Even when I watched it the first time, it was on Netflix, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this had come out at some point. I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. That was a good couple years ago now, because it's been out for a while. Like, it has been out for at least over 3, maybe 4 years now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good little ditty, man. It's seriously worth your time. Like, it's a pretty good film. It's enjoyable. Did you guys see? Have you guys watched? Nah, never mind. I was gonna f around a little bit more, but I'm done. I'm too tired for this. I was gonna be like, "What about Green Book? That's a pretty hidden gem." Hey, yeah, no one's ever heard of Green Book.
Honestly,
Only
yeah,
one Best Picture. That's it.
yeah, aside from when Green Book, because that one actually no, that one Mahershala Ali won the Oscar, didn't he?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Okay. Well, there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, it was also Best Picture that year too.
Oh. Yeah. No, that one's kind of on my list mostly just because of the casting. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
honestly,
I
a
know.
lot of
It's good, man. Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali.
honestly though, a lot of
top-notch.
Oscar winners and Oscar nominees kind of do get overlooked by the mass populace.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's for sure.
And, like,
Yeah.
that's actually a pretty solid point at the end
And
of the day.
some of them are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are a load of crap.
Well, how many people still talk about Boyhood?
Talk about what?
Exactly. Boyhood.
Which one's that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but what did they have to do?
It took them 12 years to make
Did it take them 12
It
years
took
to
them
make?
12 years. You can watch it grow in real time. Wow.
Seems
Thanks, Red
worth
Letter
it.
Media.
Yeah, Jesus.
Thank you for forever painting Boyhood in that light.
Yeah,
I will never forget you.
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah,
Like, good lord. But no, like that's at the end of the day, like a movie like that can like come around, get a bunch of like awards buzz, and then completely
Just die.
disappear
Yeah.
into obscurity. So
Yeah.
that's perfectly valid, I think. 100%.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, if we are considering it a hidden gem or whatever, I mean, like, yeah, it's also, again, a really solid film. Very different from The Founder, obviously.
Oh, of
But,
course.
like, Viggo Mortensen acts the shit out of that movie. He does so good. Same with Mahershala Ali, and especially when you're dealing with, like, a black pianist, right? Like, because he's, like, a professional pianist, doing shows in the South.
Yeah.
Back in, I can't remember if it was like the 60s or 70s. It was one of those. It was, back then when there was like high levels of racism with that stuff going on, and not that there isn't still
I was
today,
gonna say there was.
but like, it's still a little bit different, right? Like, this was like when like he's putting on performance for tons of people, and he has to use the bathroom, and they're like, "Nah, man, you can't use the bathroom here."
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna be playing for y'all in like 10 seconds, but I need the bathroom. Like, nah, man. There's an outhouse in the back where the servants go and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it does very like tackle head on how uncomfortable that kind of stuff is. But it's as far as like just watching it, like a bit uncomfortable because you're like, wow, that's really shit. And that's probably the reaction you should have to that. If you think this is
100%.
acceptable, you might have a problem. Just a spoiler
Yeah,
warning
no kidding.
on that. But no, it's a really great film, really enjoyable, and about like two people from two different worlds, unsuspectingly coming together and just being friends, if not family, at the end of the trip. It's great. I loved Green Book. It's fun.
Nice.
Fun in a very different way. Not like Marvel fun, but just it was good.
Just like a solid.
Yeah.
A solid romp. Oh.
What is this romp?
Oh, it's awesome. Trying to think. Because I feel like I should recommend at least one more.
I can keep going.
You can keep going.
There's a lot. There's a friggin' lot.
Well, because I know.
This other like little one too. People haven't heard of probably. Star Wars: A New Hope. I don't know if anyone's heard of that one either. That one's. I mean, it's a classic. It's going way back from this little known guy named George Lucas, but
there's a pretty obscure film.
Pretty obscure. But,
little sci-fi film.
Yeah, I think only made like $20 at the box office opening week year.
I mean, with inflation, it
not
must
very
have
well.
made more.
Yeah, maybe like 30. Yeah, something like that.
But no, one I watched recently. I guess the theme of mine is horror movies, but one I watched recently that's like one that no one really talks about is a little movie called The Intruder. And the fun thing about that movie is it's
Didn't
made
we just talk
by...
about that? Didn't we just talk about? Oh no, it was the house.
The
guest
Intruder, not the guest or your next.
I'm just like thinking of like people coming into people's houses. Okay.
Yeah, this is the theme of my
uninvited,
recommendations, as it were. But this one's a grocery store.
Oh.
But it's a little movie that came out back in 87 or 88, if I remember correctly. It's directed by Scott Spiegel, who was Sam Raimi's writing partner on Evil Dead 2. And it's literally this like super low budget horror film that takes place all in a grocery store at night, basically like a week before it's about to get shut down. And one by one, the people in the grocery store get picked off by this killer, and you're basically trying to figure out who the killer is and like why they're there. But it's like it's not a super like that movie is not well known in the slightest, but like just for like the pedigree, like it's fun to watch because like Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi both have like decently prominent roles in it, so like you get to see them acting. Bruce Campbell has a cameo in it as well.
So like completely unrelated, but like kind of semi-related. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the trailer for Black Friday?
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
It like I'm curious to watch it, but like I feel like it is gonna be a case of like Bruce Campbell literally they shot his scenes in a room and he's never gonna directly talk to anybody else.
No, they're in the trailer. There's scenes with him with them escaping.
Okay, well, yeah, because that was my concern. Is like, it looks like Bruce Campbell's gonna be it for like 5 minutes, and Michael J. White might be it for like 10 minutes.
It's like
I hope they're in like more of the movie because that would be fun. But
it's a zombie movie on Black Friday in a retail store.
Yeah, which sounds like a fun premise. I mean,
like I'm on board to check it out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's Bruce Campbell as like a dickish store manager. That's perfect in my opinion. Doesn't he have a mustache in that?
I think so.
Yeah. No, he rocks a mustache.
Yeah, like he could play Sully or something.
He'd be a good Sully in Uncharted.
Man, who's mentioned that before?
Yeah, jeez. Anyway.
Got any other picks?
Yeah. Trying to think if there's anyone others off the top of my head. Because I feel like there was another one I watched like fairly recently that was like, oh, that was really good. I can't think of anything right now. Like, do you got one more?
I got several more.
Oh, Jesus.
Because there's Black Sheep. Not like the Chris Farley Black Sheep, but like it's a New Zealand zombie sheep / were sheep movie.
Oh, this movie's ridiculous.
Where it's just like, it's a bunch of zombies.
Why do I feel like I've heard of this? This actually
I might have talked about it before, but it's like, I
might have seen it too, or at least clips of it.
It's this horror comedy about a bunch of sheep that just start eating people. And like one of them turns into like this weird were creature, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, I have definitely seen clips of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, but
yeah, it's like
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can see it in my
right.
I can see it in my head.
Yep, it is a weird ass movie, but it is also just delightful.
Another one is Airheads, which is about a group of rock stars who are trying to get their single played, and so in a last ditch effort, they actually take a radio station hostage with fake guns. to try and get their single played, and it's
That's
Brendan
commitment.
Fraser. It's Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler
Okay.
as the band. And like it's hilarious. It's super well done.
Interesting.
What else do I got? Explorers. I don't think a lot of people know about Explorers, but it's like about these three friends who are kids who need to try and escape into space to escape, I think, abusive relationships and bullies.
Okay.
Space seems like a good option sometimes, yeah.
Not a whole lot going on there, that's for sure.
What else I got? What else I got?
Oh, I got another one. This one's like double obscure because it's like from another country as well, similar to Black Sheep. But this movie came out a little while ago. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf. I know I've talked your ear off about it, but essentially it's a horror movie. Again, another horror movie, but I swear nobody's invading someone's house in this one.
That's what you think.
I mean, actually, someone's mansion might get invaded at one point. But anyway, it's a movie based on the real life monster story of the Beast of Gévaudan.
Bless you.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Gévaudan.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
But basically, it's this real life monster story where like this French like town was being like people were being like attacked and mauled by a giant animal of some kind, and they sent hunters after it. They sent like big game like international hunters as well. Like they sent soldiers after this thing, and nobody could take it down. And anybody who saw it just like didn't know how to describe exactly what they were looking at. And eventually they did catch the monster, but its corpse disappeared. Like there is no record of like what this thing actually was, but it killed over 100 people over the course of like a couple of years. But this basically takes that.
Why would you
story.
even live there anymore? I'd be like, I'm out. Like,
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's France during like I think it's like the 18th or 17th century. So like they don't got a whole lot of options
it's not
here.
like okay, never mind.
Yep.
I thought we're talking like it's more of like a modern day ish.
Oh no, this happened like way back in the day. But like that's what's freaky about it too, because like there's not really a record of like there's no photos of what this thing was, but by all accounts, it wasn't a wolf. It was an indescribable monster of some kind.
Yeah.
And this basically takes that story, that real life thing that happens, and just dramatizes the shit out of it. Mm-hmm. So, and it's got it's got Mark Dacascos in it, who was recently in John Wick Chapter 3. He's really good in it. But it's essentially this weird mix of like horror movie and like it's got like kung fu action in it as well in random spots. Like,
Oh boy.
but like it's got pretty solid effects overall. Some of the CG on like the Beast is a little iffy for the time period it came out. But it's also probably like if like it was kind of known as like one of the movies that helped inspire the look of Bloodborne as well. So like it's got a bit of that recent uptake in popularity. But that is one that like just for how weird and unique it is, I would say it's worth a watch. It is a French movie, so like you'd be watching either dubbed or subtitled, but I don't let that scare you. I think it's a really just unique film to give a look at.
It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf again.
Yep.
Brotherhood of the
Matt,
Wolf.
Matt asked you what it was called.
Oh,
I
didn't even hear what he
You were too busy listening to the sound of your own voice.
I didn't even hear you say that. My bad. Sorry, Matt.
No worries.
So rude.
But yeah, Brotherhood of the Wolf. So it's a weird little movie, but I really like it.
Isn't it weird that indescribable is technically a describing word?
Yeah. Lovecraft abused the crap out of that.
Boo. Boo.
Oh, boo.
I saw one that I thought you might talk about, or you might be curious
Well,
about.
it's from like 2001. Okay, holy.
Oh yeah, like it's an older one.
Oh, Nightbreed.
Oh, the Nightbreed, yeah.
Nightbreed is such a weird movie because it's like Clive Barker trying to basically set up his own Star Wars-esque universe, but in horror.
Yeah.
So it's not a space fantasy, but it's like a horror fantasy.
And like it's like it's a small movie, and yet it's got this like big grand mythology within it.
And he wanted to explore it more, but it failed, so he didn't get to make sequels.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, it's this guy accidentally stumbles into this world of monsters and ends up becoming their chosen one.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
super weird. There's like
The creature design is phenomenal.
oh yeah, like they're super weird because like a lot of them are like humanoid, but like they got like these like weird extensions to them. Some of them have horns. Like they're not like demons, but they're like these like they're just like these like this other the Nightbreed. They're this other species that's like kind of evolved alongside humans, and they live in like underground
In a
caverns.
cemetery
Yeah, like under cemeteries, things like that.
because the sunlight burns them.
Yep. David
okay.
Cronenberg's in it, and he gives a pretty solid, like, wacko performance, which is quite good. Yeah, Nightbreed. That one is a weird one, to say the least.
Streets on fire.
Streets of Fire. See, like, Streets of Fire, that's one I really like, but, like, it's weird. It's, like, it's got this weird mix of, like, the Warriors, but it's got like a weird rock opera thing going on with the way the story goes. There's a lot of music in it.
Right.
Yeah, not that much.
There's a lot of music.
No, there's a lot of soundtrack.
Oh yes, soundtrack.
There's not a lot of performance to it.
Diane Lane literally performs music in
A
it.
song. She performs a single song.
She performs 3 songs in
I
it.
remember a single one
Well, that's because you weren't paying attention.
because it was an okay movie.
Willem Dafoe's in it.
Yes, he's amazing.
Willem
I
Dafoe,
love Willem
like,
Dafoe.
and like a young Willem Dafoe too. Like he's like a baby in it. But that movie's. I think that movie is a delight. It is a fun time. It's not as good as the Warriors, but it feels like it would be in the same universe as the
Right.
Warriors, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And because you like it, I have to hate it.
Well, of course, naturally. We were over this with the guest, or sorry, you're next.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems to be how you guys like to roll.
Well, I mean, it's if we don't argue, then what are people coming here for?
Exactly. They need that animosity.
Yes.
It just prints views.
Okay.
Maybe 1 or 2 more.
The Rocketeer?
The Rocketeer. People know about the Rocketeer.
No, but no one talks about it.
Like it should be better known.
If you want a prequel to Captain America, watch The Rocketeer.
Yeah, like it's
Joe Johnston directed it, and it's like literally it's a blueprint for what became Captain America First Avenger.
Yep. Yeah, like it feels like it would be like it like if Captain America wasn't already in a universe, it feels like Captain America would be in the same universe as the Rocketeer.
Right.
It is a very delightful film. It's got fun characters. Like there's a whole like subplot with the mob. Timothy Dalton's in it. He's great.
Timothy Dalton again. Oh wait, that was
Yeah,
before
man.
we were talking about that before the podcast.
For people who are fans of aviation, Howard Hughes, like somebody plays Howard Hughes in the movie, and he has a significant role to play.
Howard who?
Howard Hughes.
Who?
Hughes.
Hughes?
Howard Woos. But no, yeah, Rocketeer is fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah, highly recommend that one. It's got the, like I said, it's oddly, it's really weird seeing Captain America First Avenger and going back and watching that movie, because like there's so much stuff that feels like they lifted
Kinda the same
tonally
thing.
and like even story-wise from it, so it's a gooder.
I agree.
Anyone got a question of the day?
No, dude, we barely had this episode.
Well, Prosser,
Um,
Prosser is the newest person. You need to come up with a question of the day.
Okay. Well, let me think here. I'm just gonna bring it back around to something we talked about at the beginning of the episode. If you could adapt one board game into a movie, what would you adapt?
Oh, you would adapt
We talked about
Don't Wake
that.
Daddy, obviously.
Oh, we talked about the board game, right?
Yeah, we talked about your quote unquote board game that you would. I mean, you've already adapted it into your sex life. So.
Oh, oh my God!
Don't Wake Daddy.
And I'd cast Jack Nicholson as the daddy.
You want Jack Nicholson to be your daddy?
You know it.
Here's Daddy.
Here's Dad. Yeah, he'd sit up. Be terrifying.
I didn't know you were into that.
It's gonna be a horror film. Come on, you would watch that movie. It's like a what is it like a Stranger Things. They have to like get something from out of the house, and Jack Nicholson is sleeping the whole time. He'll love it. He'll come out of retirement to play this role.
You'll love it.
He'll love it. He can just sleep the whole time. And then he has to get up for the third act twist. They make noise. It's like a Quiet Place, but Jack Nicholson's the monster. What else we got here? But no, it's like, they gotta find the secret in the house that is owned by Jack Nicholson. They're trying to get his fortune in a safe that is underneath his bedroom. So they have to. I'm just gonna pitch this whole thing. So they have to get into his house.
Please don't. Gosh.
They have to find the combination to the safe, and then they have to find a way to open the safe without waking him up.
Now, is this your real answer?
It kind of is now. I wasn't going in to actually pitch this, but I kind of want to see this movie now.
Yeah, like, I don't really have much of a choice. It is what it is.
Yeah, because of course, because there's a lot of board games. Like they've been trying to adapt so many board games. Like there's supposed to be a Hungry Hippos movie, for Christ's sake, which apparently they want to make into a horror movie of like killer hippopotamuses, and I'm like, that seems a little extreme.
Yeah, that seems like a bit much. For a film,
Yes, if you could adapt one board game, any board game.
Is it what? Does it have to be ones that haven't been adapted so far?
Or you can if you want to readapt Battleship, because I know that's your answer.
Well, now it's not.
Oh.
I would readapt. No, I'm not gonna say that because that's my idea and I like it and I'm gonna use it. Just not right now.
So you're gonna keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I am gonna keep that to myself. I'm like, I tell you, but I kind of like that idea. A little too much to just shoot it out on the internet.
I shared my whole pitch for Don't Wake Daddy, and if Hollywood steals it, I'm going to be very upset.
I'm not worried about Hollywood. I just...
Oh, of course.
It'll be funnier if I just have it later. Damn, I don't know. Maybe like Sorry or something, or like what's
Sorry?
Yeah, just like everyone's...
See, I have a pitch for Sorry.
You have a pitch for Sorry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know. I
You-
guess Sorry would be okay.
Is that all you had? Was just Sorry?
You just
maybe
would adapt
Sorry?
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry guys. Listen,
Sorry.
I told you already at the beginning of the episode, I'm white, man. My brain is like, my brain's in pancake mode, man. Like it's
That's
flat.
okay.
It's flat
It's
and
all
smooth
good.
right now. There's no processing going on. But yeah, I don't know. I think Sorry would be okay. Like have maybe turn into a horror movie where everyone's like running around the house trying to get to the safe zone, and then if someone lands, like someone catches you, they jump on your head, break your neck, something like that. I don't know.
It's a Sorry
Wish you-
monster.
See,
Yeah.
the way I would go is I would go with
Kind of like a
Like a
Hunger
Can-
Games kind of thing.
I'd go with a Canadian version of Rat Race.
Ah, there you
So
go.
it's like a
sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's like a globetrotting movie where they have to all reach this goal, but they just keep apologizing to each other throughout the entire time. Every time they screw someone over.
One of them's got a gun, and he's fucking kneecap somebody. He's like,
Sorry.
Sorry. Ah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny.
There you go. That'd be fun. Be a good time.
I'm surprised no one's tried to adapt Monopoly.
Yeah, like I
Or is
feel
that just too real?
I'm not
I think
saying I'm not saying that wasn't my idea. One of my ideas.
I mean, isn't that basically the Wolf of Wall Street? Isn't that,
Yeah, true.
isn't the Wolf of Wall Street basically? Isn't Leonardo DiCaprio essentially playing the monocle man?
I'm also surprised at how many board games are suddenly escaping my mind.
Right, the second you got to think about them, the old, you could do. Oh man.
I'm waiting for the Disney adventure movie of Snakes and Ladders,
Oh, there you go. Snakes and ladders.
where it's basically like these kids get. It's almost like you haven't seen Cube yet, but it's like similar to Cube, except for like kids are like stranded at this bottom of this tall thing and they have to climb out, and it's got like some snakes in it.
And the only man who can save them is Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yes, he would 100% be in that movie. It's like a kid version of Anaconda,
Yeah, there you go. That'd be
but
fun.
with ladders.
That would be something.
There's nothing in here. There's just a bunch of snakes and ladders.
Exactly.
That'd be fun. I like that. It's no Don't Wait Daddy, but
Monopoly Junior, where it's Wolf of Wall Street, but for kids.
yes. Monopoly Junior.
It's like Richie Rich, but Wolf of Wall Street.
Ah, yeah.
They're snorting pixie sticks.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I
The
thought
Game of
about,
Life.
Also thought, I think they did adapt. They basically did a Mousetrap movie. I'm
Mouse
trying-
Hunt.
Yeah. Like-
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Like, it's kind of a Mousetrap movie.
See, the Game of Life would be too depressing to turn into a movie.
Oh, they did. They adapted. It's called Boyhood.
Crap, I had another one.
Except you keep choosing the most boringest option, and that's what Boyhood is.
Crap, what was it? I had a thought. Well, you could do Trivial Pursuit, but it's like a horror game where, like, you know, you have to answer this trivia in order to survive. It's like Saw, but with trivia.
It's like Scream. It's literally Scream. That's what you. He literally asks you horror trivia before he kills you.
Well, I'm saying, but this is open to just horror trivia.
Oh, it's anything. Okay.
Yeah, it's like people trapped in a room. And...
Oh, I see. Well, no, fair enough.
Crap, what was it? There was another game that's like a family staple.
Getting into trouble.
Nope. I mean, Trouble... Okay, the pitch for Trouble would 100% be like just about... Again, it would be like a Disney kids movie.
Yeah.
And it would just be about kids getting in and out of trouble.
Yes.
Or doing their best to get out of trouble.
Yep.
Clue's ever been adapted, has it?
Oh yeah, no clue.
few times.
That's the obvious, like,
It's already been adapted.
exactly. Like, Clue was the easiest one to adapt, so that's why they did it.
You know what's annoying is I'm gonna go and like look at my board games after this, and I'm gonna remember exactly the one that I was thinking about, and I'm gonna just be really mad.
Because
sounds
like
about right.
Risk feels redundant because they've done every war movie under the sun.
Dutch Blitz would also just be a war movie.
Oh, Ticket to Ride. There you go.
Movie about trains.
Yeah, about train tycoons.
So every Western ever.
Yeah, there you go. It'd just be a Western, yeah.
Frick. I had a really good suggestion, and it's gone now.
Oh no.
Wasn't Perfection. It wasn't Connect 4.
Well, Connect 4 would just be another Squid Game.
Would it?
You know it.
Yeah, I got nothing else. I think I'm tapped.
Alright, fair enough. I apparently spent all my creative energy on Don't Wake Daddy the movie.
This made-up board game.
It's not a made-up board game. It's real, goddammit.
You find a trailer for me after this, and we'll see.
Yes, I will look up
But
a trailer.
It's probably wrong. It's probably fake. You made it up. You had a dream about Jack Nicholson being your daddy.
It was after watching, Witches of Eastwick?
Yes. Speaking of hopes and dreams, Prosser, where can the good people find you?
They can find me at thatjprosser on Instagram. They can find my YouTube channel, Jesse Prosser, on YouTube. Check out some of the short films I've done. And you can find Ethan and I's feature film, Damned Rights, at realhouse.org. Give it a rent, give it a watch, see what you think.
What about you, Matt? Where can people find you?
You can find me over on my other podcast, Gaming Night Radio. Yeah, come check it out. We talk about gaming and stuff.
Games and stuff,
Just
games.
we have a good time. Call it the worst. Celebrate the best. There's been some crazy stuff going on in Activision right now. Again, it's like nuts with their CEO threatening to kill people. It's just like, oh my god, it's going crazy. So we're gonna be talking about that. When is this coming out? Monday, Tuesday, tomorrow. So go check that one out. It'll be nuts.
Cool. All right, Ethan, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Ethan R. Hill. You can also find me on YouTube at Ethan R. Hill. And like Prosser said, find our movie Damned Rights at realhouse.org. Buy it, rent it, download it, stream it.
Give it a watch.
All right. Well, guys, that's another episode of A Feast of Films. Again, I'm your host, Ethan R. Hill. And with me, as always, is...
Jesse Prosser.
And Matt R. Ayalew?
Ayalew?
Oh, yeah, we dropped the question thing very early on.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really keep it up.
I'm bringing it back,
guys.
Brought it back.
All right. Well, everyone, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
Yeah?
Is this how we're ending the podcast?
I think so.
I don't know how I like this.
I'm committing to it now.
It's going to be an unanswered question.
Okay.
I'm going to bed.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. It feels uncomfortable, eh?
It feels so unresolved.